Today we're going to be learning how to sharpen a basic kitchen knife. This is a IKEA knife. It's not very expensive, and I always suggest that when you're learning how to sharpen for the first time, or just brushing up, it's always a good idea to start out with an inexpensive, or you can pick up a used knife or whatever. So we're going to go over how to do that. What we're going to need is a knife. We're going to need a sharpening stone. This is a diamond plate stone. We're going to need a strop for honing after we sharpen, and some honing compound. That's basically everything that we need. This is Sharp All. It's a diamond stone. Pick it up on Amazon. I bought all of these things or made them by myself, and this I'll have an affiliate link. If you're interested, you can pick up this sharpener after you see it used. There'll be a link in my description. Here we have a kitchen knife, and the kitchen knife, this one has a thickness on the spine here. This has a bevel that it tapers from the spine, the thickest part, towards the blade or the cutting edge. So this is a double bevel, meaning it has a bevel on two sides. And then we have where it is sharp, the apex or the edge, where this is going to make sort of like a secondary triangle. Now, for me, my main concern with sharpening is today is just the basics. So we're not going to talk too much about edge angles or anything like that. I have other videos that go more deeply into that, and like more deeply into stropping. But for this, we're just going to take a knife that has a set sharpening angle, and we're going to learn how to sharpen that. So we'll need, like we said, the diamond stone, and this one is a two-sided. So we have a fine side, and the fine side on this is 1200. Yeah, 1200, and on the coarse side it is 325. Now we're going to be using only the 1200 because there's nothing wrong with this blade. It just needs a good sharpening. So we're going to put that with the fine side up. Okay. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to figure out what the angle is that the manufacturer placed on this knife. So there's not much to that. The easiest way to do that is to take a Sharpie and go ahead and put, what this is, I'm covering the angle that's on the edge. So we can see that that is the sharpened bevel or the apex, and we'll do that on both sides. And we're only putting Sharpie on the flat portion, like where their taper is, and that's going to help us to have the same taper, the same angle. To give you, this might be a little clearer if you look at this blade edge here. This has a little sharpening edge on it, and so this is a primary bevel, the primary bevel on this edge, and then right here is the apex to sharpen. It's flat on this side. So if we were to mark this, we're only marking that little edge that dives out that comes to the tip. So we're only marking the angle to the tip. So if we do the same thing on this, to give you an idea, it's only that angle at the tip. We don't need to mark up this direction. So we did the same thing on this knife here. So that is the angle that we're going to be trying to sharpen to. Now, what we want to try to do is establish the angle. So the reason we mark this is so that we can do our first pass. And when we do our first pass, we're going to look at the black and see how much of that we've taken off so that we can learn how to adjust this. So for this, I'm going to go ahead. It doesn't matter if you go towards you or away from you. You can hold, if it's easier to go this way or this way. But the important thing is that this hand, the one that you hold the handle with, this is going to control the angle. So when we get our fixed angle, like where we feel that being flat, we want to lock our arm at the wrist. Okay, so we're going to place this down. We're going to see if we can feel where that is. And we're going to do a pass. I'm going to take a look, and if we look, you can see that my angle was a little too high. So when I say too high was I had the tip and I wasn't catching the full length of the blade. So we're going to do that again, and we're going to lower it a little bit. We did it again, and we can see that we're now picking up more. So this is a very sharp angled vegetable knife. We go a little bit lower. And now we're basically getting the whole angle all the way across. So that is the angle we're going to work with. So this is a very shallow, shallow angle. So I'm holding my wrist straight, and I'm sliding across, and I'm doing, that's about 4 or 5 passes. And you can see that we're picking up the majority of that black. So we're going to continue to do that. And it doesn't matter if you're going in this direction or this way. Either way is going to sharpen the knife. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. We want to make sure that we get all that to our angle because it's been used a little bit. Continue to, and you can work in like right here. I need to work a little bit more in that area. So I'm going to put my finger here, holding the same angle. Because blades are flexible. You can see how that bends. So you want to make sure that when you're putting pressure, you're trying to keep an even pressure. All right. So we've done a few passes there. And now let's try and do the other side. You want to try, the idea is to keep the apex directly in the center. So if you remove material on this side, we want to try to remove the same amount of material on this side. So we keep that blade in the middle. So this way I'm going to, instead of going away from me, I'm going to come towards me. It's just easier for me. I'm going to do the same thing. Get the angle. Take a look. And basically we're taking off the majority of the black. I've got a little light here on the tip. So I'm going to move a little more weight out this way. That same angle. So the objective when sharpening is to remove as little material as possible to get this blade sharp. Now as we do this, what's happening to the tip of the blade is we're raising a burr. So as I do this, material is starting to roll up in this direction. So if we're sharpening this side or this edge, what's going to happen is that burr is going to go in this direction. So you would not be able to feel it here. You'd be able to feel it on the other side, if you can feel it at all. So we're trying to raise that burr. So there is a burr here. It's very hard. I will show you a photograph of a burr on a chisel that I did on the single bevel sharpening. So we have, and you can also check for sharpness. Don't ever run your finger on the sharp edge. When you're feeling for the burr, you want to run the blade away so you're not going to cut yourself when you're feeling for the burr. Another way to do that is on your thumbnail or fingernail. If you touch the knife to it, if it grabs, you're sharp. So you can kind of go along here, and as I touch my thumbnail, so right along here, you don't want to scrape anything off, but it's actually taking some of my thumbnail with me. So that is right here. I need to do a little bit more work right here at the beginning. All right. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But when I come on this side, there's very little sound. This way you can kind of feel that burr a little bit. All right, so now we've gotten that blade sort of sharp. We have this tiny burr that we want to get rid of. You can kind of go this way and this way, but this is so small, I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the strop. But if you're on the coarse side, you might want to do that first and then move over to the fine side. So we are ready to strop. This is a strop, and a strop is basically something hard, such as a piece of wood with leather on it. This leather has a grain side, which is usually like what considered the top side. Like if you were to touch a couch or something, this would be the side. The other side is the flesh side, and this is the rougher or the underside of the leather. This already has some compound on it. The compound that I use is this Tormac honing compound. I like this. I just have really good results with it. This is about 300 or 3 microns, so roughly 3,000 grit. So we went from using our stone here, we didn't use it, but 320, 1,200, and now we're going to roughly 3,000. When you go to you could use this right now. You don't need to strop it. Let's see if I got a piece of paper. But this is already, able to cut paper, no problem. So we're going to actually refine that a little bit more by stropping. So you're going to use the same angle. I have a video on how to strop properly, but basically what we want to do is keep the same angle that we use when we sharpen, and we're going to go backwards. You never go into the strop, you always come backwards. So we're taking it and we're wiping the blade back and forth. And what this is doing is refining that edge that we just sharpened. So you want to keep the same angle. This is the compound side. This coloration here is actually metal being removed. So when you sharpen, you're removing metal. When you sharpen, we're removing more metal. The coarsest is going to remove the most. The fine is going to remove the second least. And then stropping, when you go to use the compound, This is removing the very minimum. If you strop between uses of a knife, you can extend its sharpened life and use just by stropping in between uses. Helps to keep that edge sharp and refined, and can straighten out rollover. And rollover is when the edge starts to deform, and then your knife is not going to cut as well. This method can be used on any and all knives. So we have done that. Let's see if I can clean off the rest of the Sharpie and get some of this compound off before I go over to the grain side. And these are going to be the final passes, which is this grain side. So we're doing the exact same thing we did on the side with the compound. Keeping the same angle. And all we're doing is refining, polishing that edge. It was already difficult to feel the burr when we're on the fine, and now we shouldn't be able to feel any burr at all. I'll try and get a close-up of that. Let's see how this cuts paper now that we have stropped it. Now, another reason that we would cut paper is to see that if we have any spots that stick. For instance, right here at the end, we might have some, we may need to go back and refine that a little bit right here at the tip. If you get an area that doesn't smoothly go through the paper, that would be an area to take a look at. So you can kind of hear it stutter. This is pretty good though. For a kitchen knife, this will definitely cut vegetables, no problem. So that is basically how to sharpen a kitchen knife. And like I said, you only need a stone. You don't need to strop. You don't have to strop. But I like to strop. But once you've gone from this stone, you're good to go in the kitchen. So it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Just keep that angle and you're all good. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.